Hello gamers, welcome to another edition of Tonight on Mage Hammer's Game Table, where tonight I'm continuing my series featuring my game, Delves and Dangers, Rules Light Fantasy Role-Playing Game. And I'm currently in the middle of a storyline featuring the Spell League. It's a group from the Swordlands that spends their time, resources, and they're dedicated to searching all the delves and all the ruins that are peppering the Swordlands and finding scrolls, spells, any kind of new spells that are out there. They also look for magic items occasionally as well, spell foci, all kinds of different things that have to do with the wizarding. So our team this time is led by Spell League member Grandon Hendelstone, and he has hired Kranos Silverbark, a elven knight. And he has hired Theo Shieldfoot, and Theo is a Harefoot cleric of Retha, the goddess of luck. And then his trap springer and stealth specialist is Claudia Softpaw. So they are all here as the hirelings of Grandon. They made their way from Northgate here, on the North Ride to the hills of the Storm Hills. It took them 10 days to get there, and they had a semi-harrowing journey. You can go check out the video before this one to see exactly what happened. And now they stand before the doors of a delve of a wizard that is known as Kezrazer the Crass. And supposedly he has a very interesting spell book that he engraved into a metal cylinder, and he also has a spell focus that could possibly be here as well. And this delve was uncovered by gem miners not too long ago, and when they saw magical sigils on a door, they contacted the Spell League and hoping for a reward, which they did receive. And now Grandon has been sent by the Spell League officials from Northgate to hire a team, go to the delve, and here they are. So now they need to make their way into the delve. But it is closed and locked with a door with magical sigils on it. So that's where we pick up the action here. By the way, if you like what you see here, you can download Delves and Dangers PDF up on itch.io at the link in the description below. It is pay what you want. If you are a little hard on cash right now, or you just want to check it out without any risk, go ahead and download the game. It's without paying for it. And if you would like to throw a little bit of money my way so I can continue on my hobby and sharing it with all of you, go ahead and pay what you want, I guess. So without further ado, into the action. So here we are before the door of the delve of Kezrazer the Crass. Well, the door is closed and locked. Well, do you think that means that there's probably nothing down inside that delve? That this won't be as dangerous of a delve as we think it might be? I would not count on that, Harefoot. There are many ways into delves. Some below the earth, other side entrances. Just because this door has been sealed does not mean there are not other entrances. Yes, the elf is correct. Let me take a look at the door. Hold on. Let me sense magic first and see if it is magically locked or anything along those lines. So Grandon cast his spell. Doesn't cost any power points because it's a minor spell. And he covers his eyes with his hands and then opens them and looks at the door. The sigils are magical, but they do not seem to indicate a trap. Instead, they say they are a warning. Beware those who delve into my home, for you shall not return. And woe be you if you steal anything from me, Kezrazer the Crass. So he's written it into magical sigils for only wizards to be able to read, I suppose. Interesting. All right, now, may I look at the door? Of course, that's your job. All right, everybody, stand back. All right. I will keep an eye out just in case something's coming through the woods. Yes, these are very dangerous hills. All right. So Claudia is going to check out the door to see if it's trapped with mechanical traps. So that's going to be a mind check. And she gets a proficiency because that's what she does. Also, I'm going to give her +2 dice for stealth for her profession ability. And I'm going to randomly see if it is trapped. So we'll just go 1-2, it's trapped. It is trapped. Okay, so since there's a trap there, I'm going to say it's a DL, we'll say it's a DL3 to find it. And she only rolls 2 successes. So I think I will use a daring die, since I know since she knows that usually 2, a player would know that 2 successes is not enough. And the die is spent, and she goes, I don't believe there are any traps. So she takes a look at the lock. Yes. What do you think would be the most likely trap? Let's say I missed it, that a wizard would put on it. Well, I suppose there are certain wards and sigils that send off power, but I did not see one of those when I sensed magic on the door. So it must be a mechanical, or he did not trap the door at all. Let me look at the lock. And there is a lock on it. Any talk of a key? No, not in the briefing we received from the miners. Well then, I suppose I must use my tools. So she is going to go to the lock, and I'm going to roll another check. A 1-2, the trap is on the door. 3 plus, trap happens when the door is open. All right, it's going to happen when the door is open. So she's going to inspect this lock, and she's going to try to unlock it. So that's I'm going to give her agility, I give her a proficiency, and I'm going to give her +2 for her thievery roll, and she's going to attempt to unlock the door. The lock, I'm going to say, is fairly complex, so it's a DL4 to unlock the door. And she gets 4 successes. So she works for about 10 minutes, very carefully. Click, click, click. The lock opens. I've opened indeed. The door has been unlocked. But who shall open it? I shall open it. For if there are creatures beyond, or something else untoward, I shall deal with them. Be my guest. So he walks up, and he opens the door, and that's when the trap's going to go off. So, this kind of trap, I'm going to say that it is going to be, he opens the door, and like a block on a pendulum swings out and is going to hit him in the chest. So the way I'm going to run that is I'm going to make it have an attack die. It's going to be like an attack. So we're going to give it, and since it's a surprise, I'm going to make it 9 dice. And it'll be modified by his armor since it's a physical attack. So he opens the door and boom. Or should I give him a chance to dodge first? Yeah, let's give him a chance to dodge. Now he is in plate mail armor. This is going to be unlikely. His agility is 2. It's coming down pretty fast. I'm going to say a DL4 to try to jump out of the way. And he gets an exploding die. So that's 2. But that's all he's going to be able to roll unless he decides to roll a daring die, but he's not going to do it. He's going to take it. So boom, so this big, huge stone on a rope comes out and smashes into his shield and him, and it looks like it's actually going to do a little bit of damage. So right now we got 3 successes and 2 exploding dice. So 3, 6, 7, modified by his plate mail and shield, which is 4, so he takes 3 stamina damage. Ugh, and he's knocked back into that bush there. So, Kranos takes 3 damage. Ugh. You need to be more careful, thief. Yes, I suppose so. Well, there is a stairway leading downward. Isn't there always? So exciting. Yes. Well, since it does not seem as if anyone has come this way, I suppose we would be safe in me casting a magic light on my staff and leading the way, for only Claudia is the only one who can see in the darkness. That's correct. Very well, let us go. So he casts light, and they head down the stairway into darkness, lit by magic light. So we're going to be using my handy dandy Axebane's deck of mini dungeons. You can get it on Game Crafter. Like I've said many times, it's the best. The best. Whoa, where are we here? On camera? Sure. Yeah, it was about right. There we go. Okay. Best solo role-playing accessory I have ever bought. All right. So they go down into this room here. And there are 4 doors and a pile of bones. So, as promised, there's going to be no encounter here. However, there are 3 sets of doors and they're all closed. Dust does cover everything in the light of Grandon's staff. Well, 3 doors, 3 options. What shall we do? Well, as my grandma always said, just cover your eyes, twirl around, and point. I suppose that's one way to do it. Yes, I have no opinion. What do you say, Fellcat? Well, I could go listen at each door and see what I can see or hear or smell. Yes, excellent idea. So she goes to this first door here, and she listens. Let's put... All right, so there is something on the other side, but it is kind of a distance away. All right, so we'll see if she hears something. So she has a mind of 2. She gets +1 to perception rolls because she is a Fellcat. And because she's a thief, she's constantly watching her back. I'm going to give her a proficiency die. And I'm going to say, let's see what the monster is, so I know if it's making any noise to begin with. On my table, that is a... I guess I didn't delineate which one is the 10s and which one's the 1s. So, I guess gray is going to be the 10, so that's the kind of creature that it is. So that's not going to make any noise. So she makes a... Whoa, look at that roll. She makes a... She has 3 successes with 3 exploding dice. So that's 5. She listened very closely. The rest of her team is not doing anything or saying anything. I don't hear anything. Let me listen to this door. And then we'll see what's on the other side of that. Oh. That was a starter card. It got mixed in with the deck. All right, so... Okay. There's no monsters indicated by the card, so there's nothing to hear, so she'll make her roll anyway. And she gets an exploding die, 2 exploding dice. And so she got 5 successes, so if she was going to hear something, she's pretty sure she would have heard something. And then finally she goes over here, she goes, this one is locked. Locks usually hide good things. Or bad, says Kranos. Yes, let me listen. So she listens, and there is indeed monster on the other side, but there's a closed door between them, so she's not going to hear anything even if it is there, so I won't roll what it is yet until we get there. And wow, she is really rolling on all cylinders with those listening tests, which I guess makes sense. She has nice cat-like ears. I hear nothing. Well, let's go with what my Grammy says. All right, so he twirls around the room and points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's a 4, so they're gonna try to go through the locked door. All right, north it is. How do you know that's north? Just a guess, because we just came down the stairs, right? Okay, anyway, so yeah. Let me take a look at the lock. So she's gonna check it for traps. Doesn't say it's trapped, but let's see if it is trapped. On a 1, it'll be trapped. Not trapped. Okay, So she's going to try to pick it. 3 for agility, 1 for proficiency, 2 for thievery. It's an easy lock, so I'm going to say it's a DL3. And she gets it easily. She has an exploding die. I mean, man, these dice are firing all cylinders now. But she has an exploding die, but I do not need to roll it. She unclicks the door, and there's a hallway with skeleton in it, and double doors closed that she sees revealed in the wizard's light. Shall we go? So she walks down the hall, she goes to that door, and she listens. Now there is a monster in here. Let's see what it is, see if it's going to be making noise. Gray is going to be the 10s. That creature does not necessarily make sense for this room, so I can look at, I'll switch it around. And 25 does make sense, so we're going to go with that. Okay, and they might make noise. Not a ton of noise, but some noise. All right. So she listens. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a DL4 because if they're making noise, it's not so much that it's gonna. And she only gets 3 successes, so she doesn't hear anything. Put on her perception roll. So she opens the doors, and over across this bridge of these 2 pits off to the side, there is a bloody altar. Well, old blood, not new blood, and there are 2 creatures that are hunkered over, and they look up as the door opens and the light starts to shine in, and they start to hiss, and they look like humanoids, like skin is terrible, and even from here there's a slight stench, if I'm not mistaken. These are ghastlies. The undead. How I hate them. Yeah, I'm not real fond of them either, but good thing I can channel my divine powers. Yes, but... And then suddenly the ghastlies start across the bridge. Here they come. So, let's make the battlefield. So we're going to make this here. All right, so these 2 things, it's going to be the bridge. That's the bridge across. There's little 5-foot steps off to either side. I'll make them 10 feet, or yeah, I'll make them like this. And there's a door here. Double door. So they're gonna come through. Our heroes are here. The double door, there's a single door open. And she is standing right in front of it. And the rest of them are out in the hall. Or in the hall outside, out here. And so, and there's pits on either side. And then it goes here and here. There. And there is an altar. I'll make this the altar, though there's no fire burning. And there's 2 ghastlies who've probably been trapped here a very long time and are very, very hungry. Though they are undead, they cannot die. So it's been a horrid existence for these creatures. And they start their way across. And we're going to roll initiative. Grandon rolls 2. Kranich rolls 2. Claudia rolls 3. This is their agility attribute, by the way. Theo rolls 2. All right, so Theo is going to go before the ghastlies. And then, Grandon is after. Claudia is before. And Kranos is before, so that's good. That's very, very good. Okay, so here we go. So, Claudia's like, I can close the door. Yes, if we need to come back here to search for the book, we can do so. Yes, so she slams the door. Now, we need a way to secure the door. I'm not sure there is a way. Let's hope they cannot open it. So we're going to move her along. We're going to see if they come. So they're going to start. So she closes the door and backs up down the hall back into the main room. She should be able to make that move, no problem. Kranos says, I shall stand here while you make your escape. So he's going to stand there, and if they come through, he'll swipe at him. And Theo is like, Are you sure, Elf? I am sure, Harefoot. Very well. So he backs up where she is, and then they hear a slamming on the door, and then Grandon's like, very well, let's get out of here. Well, let's go. So they go back through the easy lock door. They close the door. And so that's 2 doors. And then she's going to try to lock it. Okay, so this is an easy lock. She only needs 3. And she has 3 agility, 1 proficiency, and +2 for thievery. Right? Yeah, 3. Wow, that's pretty good. 3 agility, 1 proficiency, 2 thievery. Well, she only needs, yeah. So she locks the door. And so they make their way down there, and they start slamming on the door. But the door holds. All right, so that was that. So we're gonna move that room off to the side. They can always go back to it if they need to. And so they have 2 more doors that they can go through. And they're gonna use Granny Shieldfoot's method of choosing doors. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He spins around, and it's the one to the east. So that's the way they go. Kranos opens the door, and they see a hallway. And they see a passage off to the side as they go down the hall. So that may be how things have gotten in here, but it has not been traversed for many years, it seems. Yes, very interesting place, this delve. So, in the world's greatest role-playing game, especially old school games, elves have an opportunity to detect secret doors just by passing through. So I think I'll do that for Kranos. Now, Kranos, he's got a mind of 2. It's not a proficiency. It's not something that he does a lot. It's just going to be a good old-fashioned perception roll. But because he's not looking for it, and because it's probably well hidden, I'm going to say it's a DL4. So this is a long shot. He does not find it. So they walk on by. They turn the corner, and there is a passageway ending in a door, and a thin passage off to the side. So they go down the hall. Another door. So she's going to listen, and since there's no creatures, I'm not going to say there is one. But it's locked. This lock is very difficult looking. So, and Grandon's like, well, do you think you can pick it? I can try. So I'm going to check on a 1. The door itself is trapped. It is not. So she is going to attempt to pick that lock. Now it's a according to the Axbane's Decadoni Dungeons, a very hard lock. I'm going to make it a DL5. Yikes, that's going to be crazy. All right, so she has 3 agility, 1 proficiency, +2 for thievery. And she needs to get 5 successes. And so far, she's gotten 5 plus an exploding die, 6, 7 successes. So she takes a bit of time, but she opens it. Okay. Click. Now, they open the door. Kranos looks in with Grandon behind him for light. And there's a couple stairs and a treasure chest and some bones. Treasure chest. So she runs down. She takes a look at the chest. Now, this says D8 plus dungeon level. So I'm going to roll to see if it's just poison. And I'm going to use my own... not poison, trapped. I'm going to use my own treasure tables. Well, I don't have a D8 currently. I thought I had one at hand. I do not. So we're going to roll... We'll roll a D10 and add first 1 to it. So that's a 9. So yes, poison needle trap on the chest. Okay, cool. So she looks at the chest and she's like, So she's going to check it for traps. Any good thief would do so. So that's 2 for her mind, 1 for proficiency, and 2 for thievery. I'll say it's easy to see, so we'll say 3 DL. And she gets 3, actually more than that, 4, 5. So she finds the trap. Ah, very clever. There's a trap on it. So she's going to try to disarm it. We're going to say this is agility. And she gets out her tools, and she gets her proficiency, and she gets her profession ability of thievery. And since she has been able to find it, I'll say it's very easy for her to do. It's only going to be 3 DL3. She gets 4, and she disarms the trap. But now it's locked, so now she has to unlock it. I'm just going to say it's a DL3 unlock. So once again, agility, proficiency, and 2 for thievery. And she only needs 3 successes, and she clicks that open easily. Could have rolled that exploding die, but you know, who needs it? So she does, she opens it up, and I'm going to see what kind of treasure is inside using my own treasure tables, which you can download if you download my game up on itch.io. It's there up as a download. So I roll a d6. 2. There is nothing. So there is no treasure in there. Oh, who would trap a chest with nothing in it? That's disappointing. So it's just a big goof off. This Kezrazer, he's a joker. We shall see how much we're laughing by the time we're done with this delve. So, classic, there's nothing there. They head back out in the hall, and they head down the hall this way, and they come to this. Now, when your dungeon gets closed off in X-Men's Deck of Enemy Dungeons, you're supposed to replace the last, except obviously there's no, they don't know what's on the other side of this door, but this is going to be an end room. And so it ends in a door. Quest goal or stairs down to the next level. Since I'm trying to make this a bigger adventure, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to have the spell book and the spell focus be on the first level. So, so they're for sure going to go down to second level. Then on the second level, when they get to the quest goal card, I'm going to roll. If it's a 6, one of the items is in that room. However, each level they go beyond that, I'm going to add another 1 to the roll until we get to a 6. So that's how I'm going to do that. Okay, cool. So they go to the door. She listens. Since it stairs down, I'm going to say there's no creatures in here and there's no indication of monsters. Sometimes I put monsters in these rooms, but I think this has been a pretty empty level, so that makes sense. So she's going to listen to the door. I'm gonna say on 1 or 2 it's locked. No, it is not locked. So she creaks it open and sees the room, an empty room. Appears to be empty. So they all enter the room, and they go to the stairs that are in the room there, and they start down the stairs with his light leading the way. So that takes them to another level. If they need to go back and search that door for the spell book, if they never find it down in the depths here, then they will go back and they'll find it. Maybe, if it's in there. It's probably not in there, though. All right, so we start with a new starter card. Once again, doors for days. So they now are in this room. Well, what do you think? Granny Shieldfoot, here we go. So he spins around, and it's going to be the north one again. That one! So she walks up to it, and she would not be able to hear what is going on in there. So she doesn't hear anything. So she makes a hearing check, listen check, doesn't hear anything. She opens the door. It's not locked, because in most cases they'll say it's locked, and sometimes I'll randomly determine if it is, but in this case I'm not going to. So she opens the door, and they see a door at the end of the hall, and then they see, that's it. Let's go. So she sneaks down there and she listens at that door. Since I know there's no monsters in this room, she makes her check and doesn't hear anything. And it doesn't say it's locked, so they open the door, and there's a room, an altar room, with some pillars and a door directly across from the door that they enter. So she looks around and she walks over to that door. Now let's see what kind of creature is going to be in that room. Gray. 25. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so she's going to make a listen. And she hears them. There's something beyond this door. I'm not sure that I want to. And then the door bursts open as they're all kind of standing in the room. And the door bursts open and 2 ghastlies make their way to attack them. So let's make the room. I'll just make this the room. That'll be easy. And put in the pillars. And my altar piece, we'll say this is an altar right here. Yep. And the ghastlies are coming through a door here. And she's close. And the ghastlies are bursting in. So she's going to be in trouble. Maybe. It's going to be a little rough. And they all came in through a door here. They're all kind of standing here. And we're going to roll initiative. Oh, she's startled by the creatures bursting their way through against her. All right, so Grandon is going before. So is Theo. That's good. So is Claudia. And so is Kranos. So that is very, very good. Now, Claudia, though, before she acts, because she's so close to them, she has to make a, I believe it's a DL3. I think it's a DL3 strength resistance roll, or she's going to be debilitated by their stench. Horrible stench from these ghastlies. It is DL3, so her strength resistance is not great. So that's 2, and she's going to use a daring die. Ooh, daring dice. She's going to hold on to that. So she is going to be at -3. She's going to be at -3 to her, all her rolls, all her attribute or attack rolls. She is technically poisoned. Retching, can't barely control herself. She's going to do her best to defend herself. Now, since she's there in the action, I'm going to have her attack. No, she's not. No, we're going to say Kranos acts before she does. He moves up on this one here and attacks. Be gone, you foul creatures, you abominations. So, to nature. Because remember, he is a devout follower of Silvatar, goddess of forests. Get my ghastly stats. Keep that open. And he swings his longsword at them. Okay, now these are very vicious creatures. All right, so he gets 7 dice with his, 8 dice with his longsword, being a warrior, and he swings it at the ghastly. And he gets 6 successes. They have a armor of 1, so that's 5 damage on the ghastly on the left there. Ghastlies have suggested 8 stamina, so he's down to that. Now he has to make a strength resistance roll or be debilitated at this point, now that he's been within there. So he's got a strength resistance of 4, and it's a DL3, and he gets 3, so he is not debilitated. All right, so that was her. Now she's going to take advantage of him being up there with her opportunistic attack, and she's going to attack this one. Now, she gets, with her short sword, 5 dice, plus 3 more for an opportunistic attack. She's going to attack that same one, and she gets 2 exploding dice and a total of currently 6 successes. And there's another one for 7, one more. So she takes her short sword and stabs it right through the skull of that ghastly thing and kills it again, you know, because they're undead. So it falls. And then this other one kind of, it's going to move up. But Theo gets to this one here and is able to attack this ghastly as it's scrabbling to hurt her. Now he gets +3 against, he gets 6 dice with his Warhammer. And he gets +3 for channeling divine energy through it against undead. And he gets to reroll a failed die, which became a exploding die, which is wonderful. So that's 3 exploding dice. And so that is 3, 6, 8 successes. -1 for 7 damage on that thing. That almost fells it. Almost. And he too must make a strength resistance roll now, or be debilitated. And he gets to reroll a failed die. And he fails, and so he, too, is now debilitated and will have -3 dice rolls when trying to make saves or resistance rolls or anything like that. And finally, Grandon moves a bit over here and unleashes a magic bolt on the guy. So that's 5. And so he gets 6 casting dice. And he gets 2 exploding dice, so 4 successes. That makes for 6 successes. They have a agility resistance of 3. However, that bolt flies through and takes him out and knocks him to the ground and takes him out of the fight. These two are coughing and retching and trying to recover themselves. And there is a room beyond. There's a room beyond here, and looks like a stack of wood and skulls. So I'm gonna roll to see if they had any treasure, and they do. Ooh, that's a good amount of treasure. Let's see. Possible roll of 6, and then roll again for magic items. In this room where the ghastlies were. Oh, no magic item, but they do have quite a bit of gold just laying about that they were hanging out with. Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. All right, so 3 times 5 is 8 gold pieces laying around the floor. It's 3d6 times 3d6, and that's what they ended up with. So they pick up the 8 gold pieces and they take it with them. I guess I'll make a note of that. I guess I'll track gold pieces. All right, they got 8 gold pieces. They divide it up amongst themselves. They don't find anything else. The debilitation finally wears off, so they're good there. And then they don't find anything else. The altar is, you know, very interesting. So they go back to one of those other doors, and they are going to see what they can see. All right. Okay, so back to the map here. Back to the area map. All right, so they go back and they use Granny Shieldfoot's technique, and they're going to the left. So first of all, she listens, she doesn't hear anything. And they open up and there's a long hallway. Let's see. That goes beyond his light, but I'm gonna have this card here waiting to see what it's going to be. And so they go past that secret door. So once again, I'm gonna have Kranich make, see if he can get a DL3. Ooh, exploding die. Nope, he does not detect the secret door. And they make their way to this crossroads. And down here, they look this way, and there's the hallway that turns to the left. And they look down further this way, and it turns to the right. Now, we still have this way to go, so I don't have to put in a final thing. So, Granny's Shieldfoot. So they're going this way. So they keep going straight. We'll see if Kranos detects that door. He does not. He is clueless. All right, so they come to this door. Claudia goes up and listens. She doesn't hear anything. It's not locked. She opens it. There's another door. She goes and listens at that one. We're going to see if these creatures are, to see if she indicated by, we'll see if that monster is one that would be making noise. The gray one is the 10s. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, so she listens closely. And she hears scratching noises. Scratching noises? Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. Well, anyway, something's in there. Well, I suppose we need to go in. Yes, the Harefoot is right. Kranos, if you would. He opens the door, and there is a room. And there is a crack in the floor. There's a crack in the floor. And milling about in this room are 4 giant ants that seem to be a bit lost. So we'll move it down here. And they open the door up here. And Kranos is standing in the hallway, and the rest of them are behind him in the room. They're standing in a room. It's a little 10 by 10 room. And then their ants are gonna be, the ants are like just milling about looking for things. So they sense the arrival of something, food perhaps, and they decide that it's time to eat. So they scurry forward towards the things. Now, in my last episode, I forgot the giant ants had poison, and they do. That increases, they have like a sting. And so, here we go. All right. So, initiative. Let's see who acts when. All right, so Theo is going before. Kranos after, unfortunately. So is Grandon after. Not so great, people. Come on now. And then Claudia before. So Theo's like, Kranos, shut the door. He cannot react fast enough. So Theo is going to... He's just going to stay out there. He's not going to go in there until he absolutely has to. So that is his turn. Claudia is on the same boat, and she's like, no, I don't like ants. Yeah, these are not statues in this. They're just going to be mosaics on the floor. We'll do that. Oh, there's pillars. How could I forget the pillars, everybody? Pillars are awesome. And so the ants are heading their direction. Claudia is just going to hold out, I guess, and she's not going to pull out her short bow for this. And so an ant gets up on Kranos, and the other ants kind of swarm that way. And that's all they do. Then one gets an attack on Kranos. It's 5 dice, has a 5 dice bite. If it damages him, then he'll have to save his poison. If it doesn't get to his armor, then he won't have to worry about it. Oh my goodness. So it's going to get to his armor, plus there's an exploding die. Oh my goodness. So that's 6 minus 4 is 2 damage. So he takes 2 damage. And he must make a DL2 strength resistance roll, which should, quote unquote, not be a problem for him. Or he takes additional sting damage. And he makes it. He does not take sting damage. So that brings us now to his action. So he is going to swing his sword at the one that has, because it's too late to close that door now. And he swings his sword at the giant ant. And he gets, right now he has 5 successes, but he has an exploding die. And so that's 6 successes. They have pretty good armor. And so he has to take 2 points off of that for 4 damage to one of the ants. These are pretty tough creatures. They're really tough. But I don't have to make them that tough for this encounter. It's fine. Okay, we'll say that they are kind of hungry and are a little weak. So we'll reduce some of their stamina. Just because. All right, so then that brings us to Grandon. Grandon, like, magic bolts the one that's right in front of Grandon, trying to take it out, sensing the fact that it's been weakened by his sword thrust. Magic bolt, 2 exploding dice, 3 exploding dice, yes. 4 exploding dice. All right, so he's doing a total of 4. 7 minus 2 is 5, and that is enough. Heck, that's enough even if I had given him full stamina to drop that ant. Consider yourself dropped, ant. And then it's initiative. I hate these creepy things, says Claudia. So she's going before, Grandon's going before, Theo's going before, and Kranos is after. Kranos is just mucking up the works. Way to go, Kranos. I don't like insects. So, how are we going to handle this? So he's like, so he doesn't even get to move, and he's kind of blocking the doorway. I guess they could sneak through if they wanted to. Theo's like, out of my way. Well, yeah, we'll say Kranos moved in after he attacked with the sword. Well, no, because then, yeah, because it was still there. Never mind. So Theo's going to slink past and move over here and attack this giant ant with his warhammer. So he gets 6 dice. And he gets 4, 5 successes plus an exploding die. 6 successes plus an exploding die. Oh, yes. And another, oh my goodness. So that is, I should have, and he gets to reroll a failed roll. I used one of the failed rolls for that exploding die, so he gets to reroll a failed roll. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. 4, 8, 10. Are you kidding me? He takes that warhammer and just smashes down. Critical hit on that ant and smashes it into the ground. Oh, Retha was with him on that one. And he's going to finish his move and move behind that pillar. Oh, man, that was awesome. Okay. So, Grandon, Grandon's going to stay in this room. He's not coming in. Sorry, old chaps. And then Claudia, inspired by Theo, is going to move into the room over here and get ready to kind of try to attack one or draw its fire to her. Then the ants attack. This one goes after the Harefoot, and this one goes after Kranos. So Theo is attacked, bite of 5. And that is 4. Theo has armor of 3 with his shield and chainmail, so he takes 1 damage, but that's still enough to have to make a save because damage got through. All right. And he took 1 damage. And he has to make a strength resistance roll of DL2. And he gets to reroll a failed die roll. And he is going to take an additional D3 damage. So the poison gets him. Ooh, 3 more damage. Ouch. Poison stinging his veins. And then the one on Kranos is 5 dice. And if he gets through his armor, he will also have to make a resistance roll. And he does have an exploding die. And that does not penetrate his armor. He blocks the attack with the shield, so thus he does not need to make a save, of course, because he took no damage. And then he swings his sword at this creature. And he swipes at it. In the light of the mage's staff, he only gets 4 successes. So he really doesn't like insects. So that is 4 successes minus 2 is only 2 damage on his opponent. So he's going to use a daring die to add to that damage. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Not enough. Wasn't even worth it, but oh well, done and dusted. Okay, so that creature is in his face. Still, it's time for initiative. Okay, so Theo gets to reroll a failed die. Oh, so Theo's after. Claudia is before. Grandon is after. And so is... Wow, that's horrible. All right, so... that's why I like rolling initiative every round. I know some people do the cyclical thing, and I love it, but, you know. So Claudia is going to move up on this using her opportunistic attack since it is engaged with an ally of hers. So she gets 5 dice normally with her short sword. And she's also going to attack with her claw this time, so she has an additional die, and then 3 more for an opportunistic attack. And she gets a total of 5 successes. Minus the 2 is 3 damage on that one. Okay. And that's her action. Now, a ant turns its attention to her and attacks her for a bite of 5. And then the gray dice will be the attack on Kranos. So I might as well do them 2 at the same time. All right, so Kranos is going to take 1 damage from the gray dice because he has 4 armor. He's taking 1 damage. And she has ring mail, so that's 2 armor, so she's taking 2 damage. So Claudia is taking 2 damage. And Kranos is taking 1. And they both have to make strength, resistance tests, rolls, checks, whatever you want to call them. I call them rolls in this game. He gets 4 dice as a DL2. He does not take additional damage. And she only has a strength resistance of 2. And she fails and takes an additional D3 damage from the sting of the poison. Ouch. Ouch. Their sting is potent. All right, so that's them. Now Theo swipes at the one that he and Claudia are fighting. He gets to reroll a failed die. And so he gets 3. Man, he is, that Warhammer and he are best friends. 7 results, minus 2 is 5. And that slays that giant ant. And then, next is Kranos. He's going to take a swipe with his sword. And he gets 4 successes with an exploding die. That explodes again. All right, so that is 5 points of damage minus 2. Just enough to take down the final ant. Oh. So, there does not appear to be anything else in this room. And I'm going to roll for treasure because these ants came up through a crack in the floor. So they found nothing there. And they're like, whew. All right. So, they just look around, don't see anything, go back out in the hall, and they decide to go this direction. And they're going to stand out front of that door. And we are going to see what is in that room in our next episode. So, that's the end of the first part of the delve into Kezrazer, the Crass's delve. And we shall pick it up from there outside the door here. And they have one more alley to go down there. So they're all standing outside that door. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Get a little bit of dungeon crawling action going on. I'm loving it. And so, thanks for watching. Thanks for all your support. Until next time, keep on rolling dice and playing games. Mage Hammer out.